Navigating through the energies of New Earth is not an easy process and can become extremely overwhelming at times. As we all ascend into higher frequencies, we're all being guided to embrace our own unique divine pathway, a pathway created in the vibration of love. Join Vibe Nation radio host, international psychic medium Carrie Turcotte, as she guides her listeners to rediscover themselves by accessing the keys of knowledge that already exist within. Each week's show is divinely orchestrated to intertwine with the universal energies, allowing the listeners to go deeper within and understand the message being shared even greater. When you live in the frequency of love, there is no competition, so Carrie will be joined regularly by fellow soul family members who will bring forth wisdom and knowledge she knows should be shared on a global level. At the end of each show, Carrie will tap into the energies of the listeners to see what message Spirit wants to share with all those listening in for the upcoming week. If you really want to get to know who you truly are, come and join us now on Vibe Nation Radio, here on the IOM Radio Network.
Hello, my friends, and welcome to Vibe Nation Radio, where today I am feeling absolutely blessed to be working once again with my dear friend who is an astrologer and an intuitive, very intuitive, Chris Anderson, better known as One Feather. And the Charting the Tides of Life is a regular show that Chris and I are now going to be doing the last Monday of every month. And it's about the upcoming month. So, Chris, are you there, my dear friend?
I absolutely am.
So excited for the show. I can't.
Yes. Pardon me. I've been doing a little, research and looking back over the annals of time and that sort of thing to see about the planetary positions and, what has happened in the past when all of the elements that we're looking at right now are in similar positions in history. And a lot of this is kind of like if you would blend the American Revolution with the Civil War, you would be looking at what a lot of the outer planets are doing right now, because we had Neptune in Pisces when we had the Civil War, and we had Pluto in Capricorn and doing a lot of outrageous revolutionary stuff when America was founded. So, that gives you kind of a sense of the combined energies that we're moving through as we continue to advance through not only the month of February, but throughout 2017.
Absolutely. I can feel the intensity that a lot of people are going through, and I know that with what I've been channeling in the Vibe Report that, again, this is a global energy that everyone's going through. There's a massive change taking place, and it's accepting this change and really, allowing yourself to go with the flow with the cosmos, which is where you're going to be able to get deeper in this and explain to people a little bit deeper. But we're all going through this. We're all feeling this shift, but how do you allow it to control your here and now? Because a lot of people will allow the outer chaos that's taking place to actually take hold of their personal reality. And if they looked a little bit deeper to realize, it's important that you work with the cosmos. And don't get caught up with what's going on energetically. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. It's again, it goes back to that understanding that ultimately, life is all one unit, one organism, one expression of God consciousness. So whatever you do to another or however you respond to another is how you're responding to yourself. So if you're out there antagonizing people and arguing with people, that would tell me that there's a lot of inner conflict going on within your own mind and your own being. So we really have to look at how we respond to these major social changes and, get away from that tendency to be reactionary. We have to step back and become lucid. And even more importantly, we have to address everything with love, because anger and reactionary comments, things of that sort, that really doesn't support anybody or anything. It does absolutely no good. It causes people to go back into their own shell and to become self-protective and to lash out. So we really need to be cautious about how we present ourselves.
Absolutely. I know that with the energies that we're dealing with right now, I've been channeling that, there's a lot of duality going on. And again, it's about finding the oneness within all. And a lot of people are having, difficulties trying to let go of this duality, the win or lose, the wrong or right, this way, that way. And I'm positive that the cosmos are speaking of the same, because I know of a little bit about astrology that we spoke about. But, what is currently happening, causing people to have this mentality of this anger and frustration coming out. Anxiety is huge. I'm finding with a lot of clients that, again, it's the energy of the cosmos is also tapping into this global energy that we are also creating, which is intensifying it for a lot of people.
It absolutely is, yes. And as we move into this first week of February, the sun is residing in that 11th house of Aquarius, 11 degrees Aquarius today. So really it's putting a spotlight on the idea of the collective consciousness of society at large and how we treat each other and how we view each other. So, that's going to really be the major force of what we are being directed to look at. Are we seeing each other with compassion, and do we have a desire to be supportive and healing on a larger level, or are we going to continue to be conflictive and angry and ultimately punish ourselves by attempting to punish other people? That really is what it boils down to. And in addition to that, this first week we've got one thing that's kind of fun is that we do have all the planets moving forward. So the only thing that's retrograde is the nodes of the moon, and they stay retrograde. They travel backwards through through the entire astrological wheel. So starting off tomorrow and Wednesday, the influences will be coming through in kind of a cluster in the upper part of the chart. We have activity in Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, and then into Aries. And the strongest influence, which is going to be around for a while over the next 6 months, we have a huge opposition that's going on between Uranus, which is a planet of alternative thinking, looking at things through a different lens, being able to see the other side of the coin, and Jupiter, which is expansive. So there's a lot of tension going on within all of our communication, and this is definitely going to have an impact. Pardon me, I had to grab a sip of something there. We've also got Mars at 1 degree Aries as we start off the month of February, and Mars is naturally at home in Aries, but it is also naturally by instinct combative. Mars likes to go out and stir up stuff and create conflict. So that influence is going to continue to amp up for the first 3 weeks as we watch Mars continue to progress forward and to exert itself, to exert its strength, to kind of strut itself. The one positive note is we have Venus at 26 of Pisces, and over the next week it's going to catch up with Aries and kind of create more of a sense of balance within those energies of the masculine and feminine. So ultimately we will be getting, more of a sense of harmony coming out of things for a few days, kind of clearing our head consciously as a collective, and then hopefully being able to institute more communication that has more of a higher vibration around it. In other words, instead of just reacting and accusing and slamming each other with this Mars-Venus transit, there's a good chance that we'll come to some middle ground, and we have to cling to that. We have to hold on to that rather than slip back off into the pounding surf there of pounding each other into submission. The moon starts off in Pisces, conjunct Neptune, and it'll be moving through there pretty rapidly. So by Wednesday, Thursday, we're going to see the moon progress into Aries also, and that's going to, again, pull a lot of energy into that whole region around the collective sense of acceptance of each other, the feminine accepting the masculine accepting the feminine, the positive, negative, yin-yang, etc. And then we've also got Saturn that is playing into all of this. Saturn is at 24 of Sagittarius, and it's in trine to Uranus at 21 of Aries, and sextile to Jupiter at 23 of Libra. And there is really that most significant part of this theme that we're seeing played out on a global level, because basically Saturn is the desire to restrict, the desire to teach.
Go ahead. What we'll do is keep that thought, Chris, and when we get back, we'll start off with what's going on with Saturn once again. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Your conscious lifestyle on steroids. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. As difficult as it is to believe, there are places in Africa where human traffickers sell albino children and their body parts for use in magic rituals. Humanity Healing International is actively working in Uganda to change this paradigm. The Albino Rescue Project finds albino children who are at risk and places them in safe schools and environments where they can learn and grow free from fear. To learn more or to sponsor a child, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
Have you been searching for a perspective beyond the mainstream? Check it out. Join your hosts Yelito Pascual and Diana Gold Holland on Share International Radio for thought-provoking views behind the news, Sundays at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio. You can also find us at shareontheairradio.org. This may be the message of hope you've been waiting for.
How to be a great dad in 15 seconds. Bike ride, go fish, walk in the park, phone call, milkshake, play catch, picnic, fly a kite, tell jokes, laugh, talk, read a story, tell a story, bumper car, swing set, bowling, pillow fight, cut loose, stay tight. Whew. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Vibe Nation Radio, where today my special guest is intuitive astrologer Chris Anderson, better known as One Feather. And this is our regular monthly show that we're now doing called Charting the Tides of Life. And just before we got to commercial break, Chris started talking about Saturn. So I want you to just carry on where you are, Chris, and take it from here.
Absolutely. Well, good old Saturn, likes to discipline. And I think that's one of the things that we really have to look at is our instinct to be punitive. You can't punish people and really have the expectation that you're going to benefit them or you. And I think that's, a strong, strong lesson right now, but it's also a very, very strong inclination because of that Saturn interaction with both Jupiter and Uranus. So overall, a lot of tension, a lot of dynamic back and forth. Ultimately, the end result is going to be hugely transformative and very much a statement as to how the collective is going to respond to, past patterns, to people who are trying to drag things back into this old mindset. Are we really available to make changes globally, and is there a potential for salvation out there? And of course there always is, but it starts as an individual. It starts within each of us, within the collective. So if we look at this cycle of tension and conflict and frustration, really we're looking within ourselves. We're learning how to see ourselves without compromise, without giving ourselves the allowance to be negative, to be aggressive, to be basically unhappy and miserable by our own self-inflicted torment. So it is a very dynamic time. It's a very good time in the sense that it's going to accelerate growth within, the collective consciousness. But it's also a difficult time because a lot of people are going to be faced with a lot of inner conflict. And it boils down to, what do you believe about yourself? What do you believe about who you are? And what do you believe about those around you? Because we've got to find a better way to come together as community on the planet, or we'll probably be abandoning the planet as it implodes.
Yeah, I'm laughing because as you're saying all this, of course, spirits right in my head, and they're showing us like we're having a global showdown and people are being triggered all over the place. But instead of acknowledging the trigger to say, okay, why is this person triggering me? What is that reflection in myself that I need to change? They feed it, and they end up having a showdown. It's just, I'm seeing this happening all too often, and it is important for one to go within, and we're not all, we're a soul having a human experience. We're not perfect. We're here to learn. So if you can understand why someone triggers you all the time and take a look at it a little bit deeper and say, okay, what is it that really triggers me about this person? Because obviously it's a reflection of something that I have that I must let go of. So I think people just need to go a little, again, and I truly believe that, with the energies right now that, you have to choose your battles, but the choosing of the battles is, choosing the battles with your boys or the ego. It's like, where do you want to, shine on the light, or do you want to repeat the dark, right?
That is absolutely a fact. And, we can go back and look at situations in the past with people who have left us with templates as to how to respond to things like these current times. And, of course, the first thing that comes to mind is Gandhi, who was so very brilliant at bringing about reform and transformation, because the only way that you can intelligently respond is, definitely go out there and speak your piece and carry your signs and join groups, but to keep it in that realm of a non-aggressive response to hostility that you encounter, and to be able to peacefully protest, and if necessary to bring things down to a grinding halt, to get out there and confront the darkness, to make change by utilizing the power of resistance that is not based on reaction alone, but is based on standing in your truth and becoming an anchor for clarity and for intelligent response to people around us. Because really, again, as we continue to awaken to that reality that karma is instantaneous, what goes around comes around is instantaneous, and the only way you're going to escape that is to stop attacking others if you don't want to be attacked, because that's just how it works over and over again.
Yeah, and I've got it on. It's actually interesting. I'm just looking at the Vibe Report information that I've got here. And it was interesting because I've been talking about, again, this masculine and feminine balance, and the masculine is really coming in this month to really let go of masculine healing that needs to take place, like fatherly issues or whatever. And January is more about the motherly healing. But I've got on Friday as being a day where we as a collective can actually anchor what you said and use our root chakras to anchor that light to all those that are being pulled into the dark to help find their way. Because like you said too, like I think things are going to start to really pick up because I see the sacral chakra going into full swing starting on the 5th, and it's really using that sacral chakra, that creative life source energy, to create this new stability that we are all worthy of on this planet.
Very true. It's a thing of again, becoming mindful, because when you are living in your ego, when you are operating just on that wavelength of me and all of my interests, you're operating on the primal level of fear. It's the darkest aspect of that first chakra. And that's what creates even greater conflict, even greater levels of withdrawal, and ultimately it pushes you into a space where you are alone and you are against the world. So, we do have to be mindful. We just have to be present each day of our lives and not allow ourselves to slip off that deep end. Yeah. Looking further here as we move forward, we're going to have, in this second week, we'll have a balancing out with, like I said, that Mars-Venus conjunction. And more importantly, as we start into the second week, Mercury, which had just conjuncted Pluto as a response, I guess you could say, to or as a stimulant for Trump's anti-Muslim rhetoric and that sort of thing, and the ban on immigrants, that was really fired off when Mercury conjuncted Pluto in Capricorn. But during the second week, Mercury moves pretty rapidly to advance into Aquarius, and so we're going to be seeing a different level of communication beginning to open up, and a lot of the initial hostility is going to start to calm down, and I think there are going to be some very significant changes in what's going on with the administration here in the United States, and of course that affects everybody on the planet, because for decades we have allowed ourselves to, partake of that role of being the disciplinarian, of being the one who monitors everybody else on the planet and slaps them down when they're getting out of line. So there will be a turning around and the beginning of more peaceful or more valid approaches to negotiation. And I would say by the third week of February, there's a good chance that there's going to be some significant changes in the administration, and we'll begin to see a breaking apart of that cluster of this passionate energy to subvert what America was really founded on, the whole idea of freedom and the idea of tolerance and acceptance. We're going to begin to see that diminish somewhat. I mean, it's obviously not going to be, that end of the storm and the rainbows come out, but at least there will be, that first step in the right direction. And of course, again, we all have to hold that as our truth, that is what we demand from the universe, and that's what we will implement on behalf of the universe in our own personal lives. So then we're actually removing ourselves from victimhood and starting to step up to life and become, channels of light that are bringing light into this realm of confusion.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got a lot of healing taking place, and trusting what the soul is telling you to do, that we all have fears, and again, the fears aren't going to just disappear overnight. It's a work in process here, and it's almost to the point that you get to where when the fear appears, you can more embrace it now instead of allowing it to take you down. And I'm feeling there's a great healing that's taking place within each person, and allowing them to change their focus of what once was or what their belief once was, and starting to realize that the past it matters, but it doesn't. Like, we really need to get into the moment and embrace what's about to take place instead of trying to turn into spun monkeys and trying to assume what's going to happen or this is the way it needs to be. The expectations and assumptions are really what's causing so much disappointment on this planet, because again, we have to work on the vibration of love, and you can't do that when you're assuming and having expectations.
That's very, very much a salient point, because, it's like the old acronym or the old thing about the meaning of assume. It just makes, for everybody to end up with mud on their face. When you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. So
yeah.
We really have to step apart from that. And that's what the universe is going to be supporting, those who are willing to step out of that I know better mode and to step more into a space of giving grace to everybody and realizing all of the turmoil is caused by fear. And if you're out there spreading more fear, then you're not making a valid contribution. What you're doing is making things worse.
Yeah, I'm hearing the spirits right now around me going, tell people not to be a donkey. No donkeys allowed. So when we get back, after this commercial break, Chris and I will actually get into the last part of February. We'll see where Chris is taking us from there. Stay tuned. We'll be back right after this commercial break.
Free your mind with OMTimes Radio, IOM FM. Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
Eros Evolution is where sexuality and spirituality meets. Join me, clinical sexologist Martha Tara Lee, on Eros Evolution on Thursdays, 4 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio.
When Dad needed help getting around, I became his driver. Soon enough, it was up to me to be his housekeeper and financial manager, too. When he moved in, I became his cook and even his nurse. But no matter what roles I play, I know I'm still his daughter.
We understand the roles you play. So to help, we created aarp.org/caregiving, where you can connect with experts and other caregivers. Visit aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Vibe Nation Radio, where today my special guest is Chris Anderson, better known as One Feather, and he's an intuitive astrologer. And this is our weekly show, Charting the Tides of Life. And before we went to commercial break, I started seeing Donkey, and I can still hear the music in the background. Can you? Oh, there it goes. It's gone. And I'm just laughing here because during the commercial break, my loved ones in spirit were here, and they're showing me Shrek. And I can hear my buddy Bradley going, donkey, donkey. And I can hear my dad going, I want to be Puss in Boots. So I just want you to know our spirit guides and the loved ones on the other side are really with us on this journey because, my dad is laughing because I can see right now the cat with the hat and the sword, jumping on that boat. So I just thought I'd share that with everyone because they're being very comical in my living room right now.
That is delightful and definitely very much in alignment with what we're talking about here, is to be able to look beyond the illusion of confusion and chaos and turmoil and anger and frustration and alienation, and to step into a place where there is, the capacity to laugh at the absurdity of all of the things that we're doing to ourselves.
Yes.
And continuing forward here, as we're looking at that third week section of the movement of the planets, one of the more notable incidents here that's going to occur is that good old Jupiter, the heavy giant, in the middle of that second week is going to go retrograde. And basically that means that it's going to continue to really have that strong influence in that opposition to Uranus. And this is going to last for at least another 4 weeks, where we're really feeling that that kind of a tense energy, where it's trying very hard to cause us to flip our capacity, to expand our vision, and to accept the fact that we're not really the master of all space and time as an individual. We do have to be willing to allow the unexpected to appear in our lives, because that definitely is going to be what's happening on a personal level. There are going to be unexpected experiences that could affect your career, where things all of a sudden, do a 180 and you find you're on an entirely different tack, and the direction that your life is going to take you has been, hugely transformed. It could show up as personal relationships that all of a sudden, go into conflict, or old relationships where there was anger and hatred suddenly being healed. So it is that kind of a vibe of expect the unexpected through the latter part of the second, clear through until the end of February, because there are going to be surprises. And so make sure that you're giving that allowance in your life to accommodate those surprises and to work with them. Because if you actually participate with this sudden disruption, you're going to find that it actually becomes something that works in your behalf, where it's, it shows up on the doorstep as, oh my God, I'm doomed. But 3 days later you realize, oh, that was my salvation. That caused me to change my direction. So it's going to be a fun adventure for February, and it is going to be scary for a lot of people. But the whole thing is to be able to be there in a supportive way for those around you who may end up spinning out of control, and to be able to practice that capacity to just patiently look at things with them. Ask people, do you really believe this? Confront them on, is this working in your best interest, that sort of thing, because that's how we support each other through these times of accelerated growth. So the whole month overall is going to be one of additional upheaval, but answers are going to finally start emerging. We're going to start to come out of the darkest part of that movement through midnight, and of course they all say the darkest hour of the night is that right before dawn, and it does. If you're out in nature a lot, you're aware of that. You've experienced that. So as we are moving... Pardon me?
Sorry, I was just going to say, I'm sure this is going to ramp up too with the end of the month with the eclipses.
That is definitely true, and that's the other thing that we're going to be looking at as we move into the final stage of February. We've got, the sun in Pisces and the moon moving along, exiting, Aquarius, and conjuncting the sun, and that's when we have that eclipse on that new moon at about 9 degrees of Pisces. And so that is going to be kind of the beginnings of a release. It's going to be the beginnings of a real resolution cycle that will kick in. The eclipses are always very dynamic in the impact they have, and you really have to look at your own personal chart to get a real sense of how this is going to show up in your life. But I would say that the primary player as we're looking at all of these things moving forward here is going to be that eclipse setting so very close to Neptune in Pisces. And Neptune is the God consciousness planet. It's the planet that plays with you, because basically what it does is it creates a lot of illusion, a lot of confusion, and challenges you to sort things out. Is this what I really believe? Is this what I really comprehend? Am I seeing what is real? So by the end of February, a lot of people are going to be going through some very important advances, but it's only going to come as a result of encountering blockage. So you have to be willing to be diligent and to apply all of your tools, to utilize your spirituality, and to transcend the fear. That's going to be the big challenge, is to get past the fear so that you can finally arrive at a place where you're lucid and able to participate and thereby make a positive contribution, and to be able to be a supportive element in an ever-changing world around you.
Absolutely. It's again, I can feel the energy of those listening in and really trying to understand now. And I just feel that a lot of people listening in right now, you're starting to get a little bit of clarity of what Chris is saying, that, this is work that we all are going through. And on a collective level, depending where you are, again, you are picking up on the collective energies as well as your own energy, and that, we're all going through this together. So don't sit there and beat yourself up or go into, Mr. Sadness or Mr. Lonely. And, you do need to go into that soul solitude, but see, you're going into the soul solitude with your soul. This is soul love, that you're going in to heal the soul so that the soul can expand and use that energy, especially with the eclipses. I mean, you and I are both Pisces. I'm so looking forward to this. I'm like, woohoo, and it's something that I feel that there's so much beauty that will be revealed if you would just allow the ego to quiet.
Exactly, and it's definitely contingent on you. We are, all of us, in control of how we are reacting to the world around us. And if you want to, again, invest yourself in your own personal ego, then it's going to be pretty scary. You're going to feel like, oh, damn, I need to crawl into the bed because things are getting real serious out there. But if you're willing to step out of that sense of a personal self and to work with your meditation, to work with your spirituality, and to recognize, no, I'm a part of this whole panorama. This is me. This is a dynamic that is going on in my interior. And that's the only way I can address it, is from that overview, from that perspective of the soul, and look at it from that angle of there's a lot of turmoil within me, and it's being reflected in the world around me. So how am I going to respond to that? And, of course, the only response that's valid is to approach it with love.
Yes. I'm hearing breathing as well. A lot of people just take a moment to stop and take a deep breath, but breathe in from your navel, not your chest. And just take a few deep breaths. I would say take at least 3 for it to really do any effect. But they're just saying like little things like that, if you're getting overwhelmed, just stop, close your eyes, and just breathe. Because the soul is speaking truth to all of us. And they're almost saying that by you going in and seeking your own truth, this is where the opportunities are going to start to be revealed to you, and things are going to start to manifest. But again, it's with your spiritual tools that you use. And are you willing to truly step into your soul power and lead the way? And they're saying that a lot of the masculine energy that's coming forward is use the masculine energy, not with anger or frustration or that lower vibration. Use it with common sense and logic, and really use that masculine energy for that. It's so important right now.
Yes, and above all else, compassion, because, again, everybody around you is going to be just as terrified as you are. So you have to be willing to give people allowance for their fear and to walk them through their fear. Don't reinforce their fear by attacking them and saying, look at you, you dumbass. Here, let me fix you.
You donkey.
Yep, we have to be able to step back and lovingly approach people around us and say, your fears are irrational, and that's okay because, we're going through times that don't make sense. But, I love you, I support you, I'm here for you. And that's how we can actually help heal the situation rather than to just keep it in that ongoing state of antagonism and, bashing each other, which is so incredibly pointless. And yet that is the basic instinct of our egos, and that's what has to be tamed. We are here to tame our egos.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, this is the balancing of the masculine and the feminine, the yin and the yang, going back to what we were talking about at the beginning of the show. That, we've gone through this we've been going through this great feminine healing during the month of January, and we're going to start to heal the masculine, but the masculine can heal fairly quickly, and the two can come into balance and really step forward, like you said, with that compassion and that love, but with common sense and logic. So. Yes.
It is a challenging era in human history, but, you go back and you look at things 2,500 years ago or 1,500 years ago. I mean, one of the things that always stands out for me is the era of Caligula. When Caligula became the emperor of Rome, there was pretty much a very similar set of planetary positions, and it was madness. There was, you can't label it anything else but that. It was an insane period of history. But after everything was cleared out, then we entered a much better era.
Beautiful. Right on cue there. So when we return, I will be doing the weekly reading, and we'll be closing up the segment with any more words of wisdom from Chris. Stay tuned.
Bringing you the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio, your conscious lifestyle on steroids. Being a radio host on IOM-FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
Dr. Kevin here, and I want to invite you every Thursday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, to join me on the Dr. Kevin Show, where we have a diversity of guests who help you step outside the box, behind the curtain, and see what a load of crap is going on in the world today, so you have more information with which to make better decisions. We'll see you there. Namaste.
Hello, I'm John Lithgow. Manatees are unique, among the most amazing animals on Earth, but they're endangered. We pose the greatest threat to their survival. Many manatees are killed or injured by boats or other recreational activities. I'm a writer of children's books, including one about manatees, and I believe education is the key. You can be part of the solution. Please contact Save the Manatee Club right now. Call 1-800-432-JOIN. Thank you.
Welcome back to Vibe Nation Radio, where today my special guest is intuitive astrologer Chris Anderson, better known as Wen Feather, and this is our monthly show, Charting the Tides of Life. And this is the time of the show where I just get pulled in quickly to do a quick reading on those that are listening in, either live or afterwards, of the energies. And they're saying that this week a lot of people are going to have a lot of ha-ha moments. Like, you're like, whoa, like we were talking about earlier, like I can't believe this just started taking place. But this is because you're allowing your masculine energy, they're saying. If this is about you using common sense and knowledge to be able to let go of those self-imposed fears, realizing that you are on a stable foundation, that you do have stability in your life. It's just some of the inner thoughts that are going on inside of you, the emotions, maybe people are closing up on you or people are hurting you with their words. They're saying, just let this go, knowing that we're all going through this. Embrace the moment, like live in the now as much as you can so you don't get caught up in the anxiety. And the anxiety is caused by living in the future too much. So they're saying, don't conform to this. They're saying rest and recoup, take it easy and do what you need to do for you. But watch when you start to control the ego or the boys, things will start to really shift where you need to go. But Spirit really needs to know that you truly want to get where you want to go. Like, they're saying don't feed the monkeys, because once you make the choice not to do that, it's almost like they're saying you will start to step in your power, regardless of what level you are in your awakening process, because it's a process, it's not a race. And everyone will experience what they need to experience at the exact time that they're supposed to experience. So they're just saying, take a deep breath and allow yourself to let go of the fears, knowing that, when you vibrate on love, the fear can't control you. So, Chris, is there anything you'd like to add to that?
Well, and the only other thing is, astrologically, the planets are telling us we are in a period of radical trust. And if we fall off of that, that foundation, that pillar of rock in the midst of an ocean of sand, then you're going to start to drown. You're going to start to feel yourself pull down. So every morning you need to get up and do an affirmation, look at the day, and affirm that you're going to fill the day with love and with success. And success isn't about winning the lottery. Success is about moving through the day without spreading fear, without spreading panic, and to arrive at a state where by the end of the day, you're still able to step back into that feeling of love. If you're at the end of the day and you're feeling wiped out and miserable and angry, then you have lost your center. You have lost your capacity to make a positive contribution to the world. So instead of being a part of the solution, you are a part of the problem. So it's definitely all about maintaining that direct connection to higher consciousness, and it will guide you through the day, and it will pull you out of the quagmires.
Yes. And with all that's going down, the importance of, when you feel something or a thought comes in or something that soul is saying, this is where we're going, allow it to bloom like a flower. And I'm saying this in a reason because Chris and I are launching another show next week, and it's a premiere show. And this is a show that him and I talked about, about 4 years ago. And we started working at it and did some stuff on it, but we just knew it wasn't the time. And here we are now, and on February 6th, the Astro Sage is finally going to start to blossom. And I'm so excited about this because this show is a little different than this show. And the Astro Sage and the Charting Tides of Life are going to be regular shows. So, Chris, why don't you just say a few moments about what the Astro Sage is all about and how that's going to differ from this show?
Well, primarily the Astro Sage is we're going to be looking at kind of a primer for understanding astrology, for looking at the movement of the stars, the placement of the planets, and being able to actually make sense out of what's going on. So it's kind of a beginning of a directional move ultimately toward becoming an astrologer for yourself, for looking at the movement of the heavenly bodies and being able to see how that applies to your own personal chart, being able to see how what the bigger meaning is of the advance of the planets. So a lot of informative stuff. It is going to be interactive in that if you'll shoot us questions, after you listen to one show, the next show we'll try to respond to those questions. So it's an opportunity to learn, but more importantly, it's an opportunity to develop a tool or a muscle that can actually provide you with something of value, provide you with an ability or a skill to be able to look at the way the heavens are unfolding around you.
Yes, another tool in the toolbox.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. And I'm also very, I'm very honored that Chris and I are also launching today on this show a new soul reading. It's an Illuminous soul reading, and it's going to be where Chris and I work together. It's the Charting the Tides of Life Illuminous soul reading. And what will take place is that you'll have two separate readings, one with myself and one with Chris. And you'll work with me first, where we'll book a 30-minute reading, and I'll tap into your soul, and whatever spirit pulls out, I will share the common denominators, like the basic information, with Chris, and then Chris will, in his reading with you, he'll go deeper and align what Spirit's saying through you, through your energy, and now he's going to align that with your cosmos. So I'm really excited about this. I think that's going to be a very cool reading, and it's $100 US. And again, that's 60 minutes, approximately 30 minutes with myself, 30 minutes with Chris. So I'm really excited about that, Chris. And I know that with the reading I did with you, you were able to align some of this stuff up, because we obviously had to see how this was going to work, and it worked beautifully.
Yes. In fact, I think it's going to be something where people are benefited on a multitude of different levels. And again, the big core that we're looking for here is to be able to identify where our fears come from, and then to address those fears, which pretty much, reestablishes you not only in your truth, but in your power. And so I feel like a lot of people are going to be able to reclaim a lot of power that they have surrendered in the past, simply by looking at what's going on a multitude of different levels, and looking at it from the perspective of being outside of the ego, being outside of that sense of self that can become so very, very limiting.
Yes, beautiful. So if anyone's interested in the reading, Charting the Tides of Life, Luminous Soul Reading, go to CarrieTurcotte.com. There's a page. It's under the readings. It's also under the Vibe Nation Radio, Charting the Tides of Life. You can find it there as well. And just because this was kind of a last minute that Spirit guided us to do, it will be on in the future on Chris's. And his is onefeatherjournal.com. But again, it's not there today, but it is on mine, because he's been busy, and Spirit said, let's do a reading together. And this is, we wanted to launch it today. So is there anything you'd like to share with the listeners before we wrap up this week?
No, just that love is all around you, and all you have to do is just, stop all your frantic activity and arrive at that place where you can just accept it, because it's always there at the threshold of your life. And the more you're willing to accept love, the more the love is going to show up on your behalf.
Absolutely. And if you are having difficulties with people reappearing in your head, if you haven't listened to my show before, go to CarrieTurcotte.com, roll over home, and you'll see something called Vibricizes. And those are exercises. There's a meditation there to help you shut off the monkeys. There's also one there to help. It's called The Condo in My Head, and it helps you go through and find the gems and find the good to why you've gone through what you've gone to, so you can let it go and be able to move forward with those beautiful vibes. Those are love vibes that you actually have experienced through the dark, but a lot of times you can't see the love vibes because the dark is so strong within your soul. So, and I know you have a lot of stuff on your website as well. Again, onefeatherjournal.com. You have a lot of information on your site as well, correct, Chris?
Absolutely, and a lot of Native American stories, and because I am Native American, there are a lot of different things going on that are tribal in nature. So if you're interested in Native American or tribal culture, it's a good place to check in every once in a while and see what's happening with the indigenous community.
Cool. So February is going to be an interesting month, my friends. Just remember to breathe, spend time meditating. This is about you, finding your truth, knowing that as you allow the compassion and the common logic and the sense to kind of intertwine that yin and yang, there's going to be many opportunities that do show up, and they're going to be manifesting through your vibrations. Remember, you are the creator of your own reality. And right now, humanity needs us all to really find that power within us, because if we all started collectively coming together and really focus on the peace and the love and harmony within our souls, it will become a very strong ripple effect very, very quickly.
That is an absolute truth.
Right? So this is a week to vibe on love, to share the love, and know that a lot of people might not be in a very good place, but by shining the love and allowing them to see the love within, again, respond, do not react, or absorb, don't absorb, observe. You know, so this is about taking control of your vibrations and knowing that there's going to be a lot of aha moments, a lot of things that come out of nowhere during February. But again, at the end of the day, it's to help you step into your soul power.
And that is really not that big a deal, really. Once you start working with it, it works with you. So everybody can enjoy life a lot more if you just back off a little bit, relax behind it, and allow it to flow.
Yes, take a deep breath and know that, within, be grateful that you're here. It's a present for a reason. So live life like a sunset this week, my friends, and join me next week when Chris and I get back together and we talk about the astral stage. Have a wonderful week, my friends. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye, Chris.
Goodbye.
Thanks a lot, my friend.
Absolutely. Much love.
Much love to you, too.